Hello, everybody. I am back. It has been, oh gosh, I don't even know. I know that I only posted one video in July. So I think it's been since mid-June since I've gone live. It's been a while. But I have missed talking to everybody. And I have missed so much on YouTube and so much of what's going on in everyone's channels. And I'm so behind. But things have just been totally crazy. So right now I am sitting in my dad's dining room in his new house. And so this is my first live from Tennessee. So if you guys don't already know, I moved my family from the suburbs of Chicago to East Tennessee. And we moved now 2 weeks ago, I think. And it's Wednesday, so 2 weeks to the day that we've been here. Hey, Rebecca. So awesome to see you. Hey, Devin. Awesome to see you too. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, I was just saying. Hey, Tammy. How are you? So we've been here 2 weeks to the day. My son starts kindergarten tomorrow. So that's crazy. I don't know if it's hit me yet. We'll see how tomorrow goes down. So apparently, and obviously he's my oldest, so I've never done this before. I don't know that it's really set in, but I bring him to school tomorrow and I walk him into school, and then I have to go to a parents' meeting where, they're just going to talk to all the kindergarten parents and kind of get them used to like what the kids will be doing. And I think they provide breakfast and lunch for the kids at school. It's not something that I'm familiar with, or I don't know if that's just for like a select group of kids that they do it for. Not really sure. Hey, Chuck and Belinda, thank you so much for coming in. Yeah, well, I did say it enough times on your live, right? Yes, it is huge. And I think I'm more nervous than he is, which is great and right where we should be, I think. Ooh, Yarn Hall. I'll have to check that out. Starting high school, that's also a very big deal. That's a fun time. I loved high school. Daughter started middle school. Girls in middle school, they're fun. Yes, that's a huge day. That's so exciting. Congratulations. Let's see. Oh, hey, Joe. Thank you so much for stopping by. Sorry I was late to your live. Kids, I have missed your channel for so long. I was just saying in the beginning, like, I have not watched anyone's anything. And I haven't done anything social media wise for over a month, and I'm very behind, and I don't know what's going on in anyone's lives in general. Not like live streams, but YouTube is basically you're sharing your life. So I have no idea what anyone's doing these days. Yes, I'm so glad you could catch my live as well. So, So I'm supposed to go to, so I drop him off in the morning and then we separate. And then I go to like this parents meeting where they discuss, we get to ask all the questions and other new parents and stuff like that. We're all like bewildered. The kids just follow in line like ducks and don't ask any questions, but all the parents have questions. It should be very interesting because I will have the baby and Cole with me most likely because my dad is actually back in Chicago dealing with, he still has to sell his house. So I have to bring both kids with me. So that should be fun because, I can totally concentrate when I'm dealing with children, right? Oh, Joe. Isn't that the truth? It's the best. So that's going to be really exciting. And then I've been trying to transfer over 2 of our vehicles to Tennessee registration just because, for one, our van is up for registration anyway. So then we just bought the truck, so we just paid for registration in Illinois. So I think we're going to just kind of let that one slide for a while because I hate giving money to Illinois in the first place, and I just paid for a year's worth of registration, so might as well get the most out of it. Well, I would love it. Bring them all on. Thank you for sharing links, Jack. So I'm going to transfer over our van registration because it's due anyway, and Mike's motorcycle is due anyway. So I called them because I haven't done my license yet. And since we don't own a house, I don't have any proof of residency. So to establish residency to even get my kid into school, when we came down, when we brought down my plants, which was mid-June or mid-July, I'm sorry. I think. I don't know. Timing is doesn't even make sense to me anymore. I think it was the second week of July. We came down with my plants and we had to go to the voter registration office and sign up to be voters. And they're like, well, you won't be eligible to vote in this August election. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. I just need something that has my name on it and this address to prove residency. And she's like, oh, I get it. So that was the first piece of proof of residency that we got. And then we were finally able to get bank accounts last week, which was hard. Yeah, right. I did see that video. That was so funny. I loved it. And the editing, Andrea, what the heck? I don't know how you did any of that. And I loved I read in the comments, you were like, if you guys only knew how long it took me to edit that 40-second video. I'm just impressed that you could do it in the first place. But do you notice that I turned on this light? That was for you, Andrea. I don't even think Andrea's in here right now. She was over in Hillbilly Chicken Ranch's live that I just left. But it was super impressive. I could have never done that, and I thought it was really funny. Exactly. We'll never let her live that down. But I did turn on the light so I wouldn't have all this changing of colors. It's hard because I have all these windows, which are awesome. And you guys, I wanted to do this outside. I titled it Live from the Lake for a reason. We are on a lake. It's right out these doors. I don't think you're going to be able to see it with the glare, but it has been raining non-stop for like the entire time that I've lived here. And I shouldn't say nonstop because it's like a torrential downpour and then it goes away and the sun comes out. And then in another hour or so, it'll sprinkle or something. I'm assuming that that's just life in the mountains. I'm all new to it. But so right now it is raining. And I think it's supposed to rain all day. So there will not be me sitting out on my deck in front of the lake with you guys, which I thought would have been fun. It's a gorgeous view. I feel like I'm looking at a postcard, and it's my dad's backyard or front yard, I guess, at a lake house. The lakeside is the front of the house. But so that would have been fun, and that's unfortunately not going to happen, but that's all right. So let's see, what else are we doing? So I haven't really had to water any of my plants, although they are in pots. So I have been feeding them still. If you grow in pots, the plant is going to suck out all the nutrients in that soil pretty quickly, and you have to replenish it. So I have been doing that by hand, and it's been kind of a pain. Because if you watched my video that just landed yesterday, and I showed you guys all my plants, they're like up top, and the water is down the driveway. I have to go around that wall, down the driveway, and back to the house because the spigot is down at the bottom by our backyard. So it's been fun. I have like a 1/2 gallon mason jar that I'm filling with my fertilizer and water and going back and forth and hand feeding my plants when they need it. But you got to do what you got to do. We did harvest our potatoes, which was fun. It was about what I expected. I was pretty happy with our harvest, and I'm going to be posting that video tomorrow, actually. So I'm not going to spoil that right now. I do need to still harvest our carrots, and I want to replant those. And then, although I'm kind of torn, and I don't know if anyone can help me. It's still really hot. I don't know if I should wait to sow, like the carrots I've just kind of left because I don't think that I have the time or the bandwidth at this very moment because there's so many other things going around. Well, hello. Joy Bless Life. Thank you so much for coming in. Welcome. So they've just been kind of hanging out because I don't have the time to process them and preserve them properly. Like I just got those potatoes harvested and they're sitting in my kitchen and I haven't done anything with them yet. So I'm trying to, so they're just hanging out in their grow bags and they'll be fine in there, but I have to deal with the potatoes first. And then I can harvest those carrots and deal with them. And then should I start the carrots right away or is it too hot and they're just going to get, are they just going to bolt? I don't know. I'm not used to this heat. We get really hot in Chicago, like in the hundreds. And this humidity down here is insane. You walk outside and 80 degrees here in this humidity is like instant sweat. And I thought Chicago was humid. It's hot. Well, hello. Welcome, Organized Pineapple. I am in the new place. It's not my place. It's my dad's, but we are here for the time being until we find our place. So not a bad place to be residing in the meantime. But yes, we are here, and everything that we are using currently is here. Our pods are somewhere. It's so many people use pods, and I didn't personally order them. My husband did. And you guys know how guys are. They don't like ask questions or stay on top of things. So he's the one taking care of it. But he says that he has gotten no correspondence as to where our pods are. And I'm like, don't they like provide tracking? Like, this is our entire house in 2 pods. Like, you have no idea where our stuff is. Is it in Illinois? Is it in Tennessee? Is it in transit? Did they give you an ETA as to when it would arrive? Like, they're supposed to be stored in Knoxville. And I'm like, did they say when? Did they give you like a window? Like, like the cable guy gives you like this gigantic window. Did they give you some kind of a cable guy answer? I mean, they were great bringing the pods to our house. We had one delivered. Originally, you guys, we only got 1 pod, and we got their biggest pod, and we thought that we would fit everything in that pod. So wrong. So wrong. And when you talk to them, you tell them, okay, how many bedrooms do you have? Like, what's your square footage? And they said that we could do that. We could fit our house in 1 pod. And we had a 4-bedroom house. And we fit our furniture in 1 pod. But we had a garage and 2 sheds, and then like all the boxes of stuff. So like everything off of your shelves, or, like any boxes of things, anything that you would put in a box. There are no boxes in the first pod. There is just furniture. And we brought one of our cribs with us. So furniture minus 1 bedroom set fit in 1 pod. So we got 1 pod delivered on Saturday and 1 pod delivered on Monday. And I posted on Instagram and Facebook the picture of the 2 of them next to each other. And then the first pod was picked up on Tuesday, and the second pod was picked up on Wednesday. And so they were really good about, they did give us like a window for when they were going to deliver the pods. And they always came at the back end of that window. So it was always like a 4-hour window. And the first pod arrived actually late, but we had a storm, so we weren't really that surprised. But when you're waiting for your first pod to move across the country, you're kind of like chomping at the bit and wanting to start. And we baptized my son on Sunday. So we got the pod delivered on Saturday, packed half the pod. And then baptized my son on Sunday, had a party at my house afterwards for the baptism, in which we all sat on folding chairs and folding tables. So I moved my family from Chicago to East Tennessee. Oh, hey, you're in the Smoky Mountains. Awesome. So yeah, we're not far from there at all. We're neighbors. That's awesome. And So we had the party on Sunday, unfolding chairs and all sort of kind of stuff, eating off of paper plates and, plasticware and everything because I had packed everything else. And then we finished, people stayed and helped us pack after the party. And so that pod was ready to be picked up on Monday, but it wasn't picked up until Tuesday. And then we were freaking out seeing all the stuff that we still had. And so we were scrambling to get another pod because they said that this is like their busy time and they couldn't guarantee that we would have another pod. We got another pod. They were able to deliver it before we had our closing. It was insane, guys. We made it by like the skin on our teeth. So they delivered the second pod on Monday. And then they would call. So they gave us the 4-hour window. They were coming at the back end of that window, but they would call us within a half hour saying, hey, we're going to be there within a half hour. And the way that these drivers did their stuff was incredible. We had our first pod in and out. Both drivers were super professional. The first lady that delivered our first pod was this tiny little lady, and she drove that semi unbelievably well. And she just like whipped it in and got it down, and she was in and out of there in maybe 10 minutes. And what they do is it comes on a flatbed, and then there's like this device that is like 4 poles that have these chains that they hook onto the pods. And it's on hydraulics, and it has like this a motor is attached to this device, and it actually lifts up off of the semi and can like drive over to your pod, and then it comes back over your pod. They hook the pod up. It's strong enough to lift the pod straight up in the air, even full of your junk, thousands and thousands of pounds. I can't imagine. Totally terrifying. And then the flatbed comes underneath it, and then it sets it down onto the flatbed, and then it sets itself back down onto the semi, lifts up its legs, and they go. So like, it was super impressive, and I should have videoed it. But the first lady was like in and out of there so fast. Then when they came to pick that one up, it was really awesome. When the second one was delivered, that guy was pretty good. And then the guy that came and picked that one up was like super sketch. I think it was like his first week working there, because all the other drivers, and like pods is kind of weird about where they place their pods. If you have too much of an incline in your driveway, they won't put it there because, of how these like hydraulic things work. And we do have we had an inclined driveway, but it was not too drastic of an incline that they couldn't do. And so these semis would back up into our driveway, lift the pod, pull the truck out, set the pod down, then drive. Then they would take like that 4-pole thing and lift it up and over the pod. And then it had that motor on it, and it would drive it down our driveway enough so that it was past the pod, and then the truck would just back in, set itself back down, and they would take off. The last guy that came and picked up the last pod, he was so stressed out, and we lived on a cul-de-sac. So turning around was kind of difficult. All right, let's see. Sevierville or Sevier County. Oh, wow. So we are in Ray County currently. I think I have to take this, guys. I'm so sorry. I will be right. Okay, sorry, guys. So I'm also in the process of trying to buy a house. And that's like a whole nother saga that I'll get to. Yes, here's baby. And he's so much bigger now, I feel like. He definitely has a lot more personality. And he's growing so fast. So this last guy that came and picked it up. Oh, hey, Jen. Thanks for coming in. I'm just talking about my pods. Oh, hey, Danny. I don't know if I said hey. I saw you and I was talking. Sorry. So the last guy that picked up the pod, instead of backing the truck up and doing the whole appliance lifter thing, he was too nervous. So he parked in the middle of my street, and one of my neighbors came home, and he was legit in the middle of my street. She couldn't get around him, so she just had to park at the end of our block and walk home. Parked in the middle of the street, took the up 4-post lifter appliance thing, lifted it up off the truck, and drove it all the way to my house up in the air. Drove it all the way up my driveway, put it over the pod, lowered it down, hooked up the pod, lifted up the pod, then drove that down my driveway into the street and drove it all the way down the street to his truck. He never moved his truck once. And the whole time, my heavy as heck 1,000-pound container full of all of our, and that was full of all of our boxes and everything else, is just dangling in the air. And I mean, they're strong, but it's still, a cargo, what's the word I'm looking for here, guys? It's still a shipping container, metal shipping container hanging in the air. It was at least 6 feet in the air, held on by 4 hooks for way, way, way too far. It was so scary and rickety, and the whole thing is like swaying back and forth. And I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. All of our stuff's going to come crashing down. This is going to break in the middle of our street. It was insane. So that was the only hairy part about that. It was quite the experience. But then after they left, Mike says that he's gotten no communication from them. So we have no idea where our stuff is. And I'm like, that's interesting. And we packed them in such a way, especially the one that has like all of our boxes in it. We packed it in such a way because they told us that we would have access to our pod whenever we wanted. So we put things that we might need up in the front of the pod. And wouldn't you know it, we've come across something that we want that's in the pod. And I'm like, well, I guess we'll see that someday, maybe. Sorry, the baby spit up all over me. He's really good at that. He's a pop-up puker. Yes, he is bigger. He is 5 months. He's wearing his little 5-month bib. He's such a big boy now. I can't believe it. He's growing so fast. But he's so interactive now. So yeah, I'm trying to buy a house. We've found a couple of houses that we liked, and we are having trouble getting financing. And it is the most infuriating thing that I have ever had to deal with, you guys. And without going into too much detail or anything, Mike and I are extremely stable people. Financially, our credit histories, each independently, are stellar. Hey, Bayou Bangle 25. Thank you so much for coming in. I was at my previous job at the same place for 12 years. Mike was at the same place with me for 10 years. In the same organization, climbing the ladder for all that time. And when we moved down here, Mike got a new job. And he got an agency job. And an agency nurse is a contracted worker. And because Mike has never been a contracted worker, hey, Steven, thank you so much for coming in. I don't know where it just went. There it is. Thank you so much for coming in. Because he has never been a contracted worker before and he has no work history of being a contracted worker, the government is not going to back us. And they will not approve us for a qualified loan. They say he's too unstable to provide a loan to. Even though agency nurses are making double what other nurses are making, it doesn't matter how much money he's making. It's an unstable line of work, and they will not give us a loan. And I don't have a job anymore because I'm watching the kids. So we thought we were going to get a non-qualified loan, which meant that we were paying double the interest, which hurt a lot. And I'm not gonna lie, it's been extremely frustrating. Like I said, we have all this great work history, stable people, excellent credit scores. We have plenty of money in the bank, and he's bringing in plenty of money. And Uncle Sam is shoving it to us, and it really irks me. And everyone just says, well, you could, and you know what they've told us over and over again? They're like, well, you could wait a year. If he has a year's worth of history as an agency nurse, then we can take his income as stable. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. It's still contracted work. You're still going from one contract to another. Like, of course it's new. Our life is new. We're in a new state. We had to get a new job. Like, I'm not working. So he got a job that would make more money to compensate for that. And it was the fastest job we could get with immediate benefits and like all this other kind of stuff. And everyone told us, once you get a job in Tennessee, we can finance you. So we got a job in Tennessee. And now they're saying, nope, not good enough. And so that's been really, and because of the market, like our lender was going to be able to give us a non-qualified mortgage, which we weren't happy about, but at least it was an option. And then he started going through the process and he's like, well, because I just found out that we're not doing those loans anymore. We're only doing them for people that are self-employed or have a year of 1099. And I'm like, okay, so then we're back to square one. We have nothing. We have not a leg to stand on. My things are the least of my worries, honestly. The reason why we did the pod thing is because we're living with my dad. And so it's, one pod is full of furniture that we don't need because we have all my dad's furniture, and the other stuff, like we picked through the things that we put in the other pod, and everything that we need in the immediate future we have with us. So they're just things. But I'm living with a family of 5 at my dad's house. And my dad hasn't raised kids in 33 years. Like, it's hard to expect somebody to be okay with having, and especially their age, they're 5, 2.5, and 5 months. They're maniacs. And we thought that it was going to be a short-term thing because we thought we would be able to get a house, and it was supposed to be just a short-term thing, but now we're stuck. And so that's what that phone call was about. Someone else, and that was a credit union that told me no. And I'm like, aren't you guys supposed to be able to make your own rules and take on riskier things? I mean, I don't know. It's so frustrating, guys. It is so frustrating. She's supposed to get a first-time buyer loan, but the bank messed up. So they're fighting. Oh, well, at least she's getting a lower rate. Right now that's key. The rates are insane. Yes, thank you, Danny, so much. Please hit those like buttons. My channel needs it right now. There's not a whole lot going on it. Yes, that was our plan. Like, with this non-qualified loan, they said that we could refinance as early as 6 months if he had a full-time job, which was always the plan. He was just going to do 1, maybe 2 contracts when we first moved down, and then he was going to get his first NP job because we also went to school to become nurse practitioners. We graduated right before the pandemic, right before I had Cole, our 2.5-year-old. And then we graduated, we had Cole, and then less than a month later, we shut down for COVID. But Mike finally did certification centers went down and all kinds of craziness happened. And so it took a long time to get certified. I am still not certified because I have now had 2 pandemic children. But Mike finally did get his certification. So I have my master's. They can't take that away from me. But I have not had the time. And at this point, I would have to totally re-study everything. But he did get his certification, and he didn't get a nurse practitioner job while we were still in Chicago, because he had just gotten a managerial position at Rush, where we had been working for the past decade or decade and a half. So he just decided to stick with the stable thing and get the managerial position and expand his resume and things like that while we were in Illinois. And then he would start the NP thing down here after 1 or 2 contracts. And he also didn't want to take a stable job because he likes to stay at one place, which is, a good thing for employers. But we don't know where exactly we're going to be living. So, and we're in the mountains, something that, where my dad lives, it takes us 17 minutes to get to the main road from my dad's house, because we're on a lake in the mountains and it's all twisty, windy roads. It takes you so long to get anywhere here, which is fine. But he didn't want to take a permanent job, and we're right by the timeline as well. Some of the houses that we've looked at are in Central, and where my dad lives is in Eastern. And we actually looked at a house that we considered that was on the timeline, which was just way too much for us to deal with. And the seller was like, yeah, you have to pick a time zone, set your phone to stay that way, otherwise you would go crazy. And I'm like, oh God. So he didn't really want to be like working in one time zone and living in another time zone. So now he is in a contract, which, you can, I guess, technically break a contract, but that's just kind of not what he's all about, not what we're all about. And so it's 13 weeks, so we can't get another job for another 11 weeks, so now it seems like we're in this like holding pattern. Building on, we don't have, enough in the bank to build on a property, to like buy a property and then have the money to build on. And then if we just bought the land to build on later, it doesn't exactly help us get out of my dad's hair, or, Also, my kid is going to school. So I kind of wanted to find a stable school for him. I didn't really want to have to move him to multiple schools or start school where we are and then find a house somewhere else and start a new school. But that may have to be the case, even though we really want to live here, around here. That's why my dad did that, or moved here. Oh, wow. Oh, okay. So where do you keep your, so do you own the house that you live in now? And where do you keep these storage trailers? Yeah, kids have a lot of junk. Grandparents make sure of that. It's a blessing and a curse, right? Yeah, it's crazy. And it's just like, it's constant like doors just like slamming in my face, I feel like. Yeah, it's just a comma in our journey, right? Yeah. Yeah. Not something that we were interested in. Well, hello, Broke Cowgirl Homestead. Thank you so much for coming in. Hey, Chris. Thank you so much for coming in. So yeah, it's just been hectic, and I'm always on the phone, and I'm always kind of stressed out and juggling kids, and I have to go pick up my first Azure haul in an hour and 15 minutes. Never been to this location, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Constantly juggling things. We did find a house that we liked, and we gave them a verbal offer based on what our previous lender was saying that we would get qualified for. And then once he started to try to do that non-qualified loan, then we found out he couldn't do that loan for us anymore because of the market. And we found that out after we made this verbal offer, because we thought he was going to be able to do that for us. But then when he tried, he found out he couldn't. So then I started working with the bank that's down here that we just opened with last week, and they're actually still working with us, but we had already put in this verbal offer. And then that house got another offer or another showing, and we tried to beat out the other showing, but they found out that they were flying in. And so they thought that, they would be more serious if they're flying in. And so they wanted to see what they would say. So they wouldn't answer our offer until after these people came in, which was discouraging, but we didn't have the pre-approval letter in hand anyway. So we were like, okay, what are we going to do? Ask this guy to not move forward in his life, So the other people came in and they didn't want to make an offer. So we represented the offer and he accepted it. And so we were like, and we were kind of like, when these other people came in, we were like, maybe it wasn't meant to be. And this is just, this house isn't for us, even though it was what we liked, what we wanted. Hunter wouldn't have to change schools. It's in this area, all this other kind of stuff. I'm like, maybe it's just not meant to be. And we still need to get our financing situated and figured out and see if we can even buy a house right now. So maybe it's just not our time. And we're like, maybe he'll still sell his house to these other people. And then we heard that they didn't want to make an offer, and we're like, oh no. And then he accepted it, and we're like, oh God, no. And so he countered, and we have until 8:00 tonight to accept or reject. And we want to accept, but if we don't have financing, then we can't accept. So I've been on the phone with my bank, and they're, working with their underwriters, trying to see what they can do for us. And Mike's talking to his agency, seeing what they can do and what kind of information they can give them, because this whole contract thing, it's bankers don't really care. It's all about the money, obviously. And they need concrete, information. It doesn't matter that we're in nursing and that nursing jobs are always in demand, and there is zero risk that Mike would not have another contract lined up to work. But that is their concern, that since there is no guaranteed work after 13 weeks, he just has to keep signing these independent contracts. They don't like that, and they won't back that. But so it's not 8 o'clock yet. We haven't had to deny just yet. There's still possibly a hope that our bank could pull through, but it's not looking that great. Oh, dude. No. Yes, a semicolon, Chris, exactly. McMinnville is, I don't know exactly how far. It's not super far from us. Don't you have like family there or something, Chuck? I feel like everything here takes like 45 minutes to get to. I don't know. The pre-buy tickets for the fair. What are you talking about, girl? I don't know what's going on in anyone's lives. No, it is not fun. Oh, no way. Okay, cool. Small world. Does he look anything like you? Would I be able to spot him? You know, if I did that Mobile thing for Carter, maybe he could spot him. What?
That was fun.
Yeah? You want to say hi?
Hi.
We're not doing naps anymore because we're going to kindergarten. And I told him that once he goes to kindergarten, he doesn't have to take naps anymore because it was just a fight anyway. Are you going tomorrow?
Uh-huh.
You have yogurt or milk or something on your forehead, kid.
But does Conan have to take a nap?
Yes, Cole has to take a nap.
Well, if he's gonna take a nap, then I am too.
No, you're not. All right. You want something else?
Sure.
Which one?
This one. Pirate.
There you go.
Thanks,
Scooby-Doo to the rescue. Whew. You said it, not me. Oh, you guys, this kid, he's a silent spit up kid.
This one's over.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here, I'll restart it. Hold on. Restart. There you go. He silently spits up, and I just put my foot in it. Ooh, it's like gooey. Ninja puker. Okay. Yeah, me too. Me too. Oh, that one I heard. Thank you. Okay, let's see. Only bought one home in 38 years of marriage. Lived there 5 years. Moved 500 miles away. Sold the house
Mom, this
and
is called the bingo.
built our home here. Wow.
Bingo.
That's awesome. Congratulations. Said I was queen of everything, so I said I was Listening and designing. I gotcha. I missed that. Deborah, I have no idea. I am a new mom to school, to kindergarten. This is my first kid going to school. I don't know. Do they take naps in kindergarten? I don't know. In school? I don't know. Really? Awesome. What is it, man? What is it? Well, thank you so much for stopping by, Chuck. I appreciate you. Oops. Maybe they do. I don't know. I'm assuming that's what's going to happen in this meeting tomorrow that I have to go to. What? Do I have to stand up or something? My kids been standing. It's ridiculous. All of them have been like this. This is a weird angle, but hence he's happy. Hey, I take naps too, but I didn't know if they like designated like a nap time in kindergarten. That would be pretty cool. Oh, interesting. News to me. All I know is that I'm supposed to bring him for 8 o'clock start. I put him in the classroom, and then I go to they told us to eat breakfast at home. But then I also got some paperwork saying that they provide breakfast and lunch for the kids. So I don't know if I'm going to pack a lunch for him because I don't want him to not have anything to eat, but they might be providing him lunch. I don't know. And then he stays for the whole day, and I go to this meeting, and then after the meeting's over, I leave him there and then come pick him back up at 3 or whatever. And then, so they have like an integrated schedule. Oh, we're tired. That's what's going on. He just woke up. So he only goes one day this week. And then he goes on Wednesday next week. And then there's like 6 kindergarten classes. So they all go a different day this week. And then they all go a day next week. And then everybody goes, the whole kindergarten starts full-time school on next Friday. And then the following Monday, like that whole week, they'll be at school every day, full day. So I don't know. Do you have twins? Oh my God, you just said both my kids. Yeah, I'm sure that I'll have some feelings tomorrow, but at the same time, I will still have this kid and Cole with me. So I don't know that I think I will definitely notice that he won't be here, but I think it would be harder if I didn't have other kids that were also occupying my time. It's definitely different. I'm excited that he's excited. I'm interested to see what the bathroom situation is going to be like, because my kid can go to the bathroom by himself, but not the cleanest. It's going to be interesting. And I feel like when I went to kindergarten, I went to half-day kindergarten. And I can't say that I don't remember taking naps in kindergarten. But kindergarten teachers are really like babysitters. They're pretty babysitters that have to teach. They're pretty awesome. Oh, with each of them. I see. I thought you meant like the same day or something like that. I was like, yeah, I would have bawled too. But yeah. I don't know. And the fact that there's just like so much else going on. I'm pretty occupied at the moment. And I think it'll take me a little bit longer to have all the feels. I also need to go back to the county clerk tomorrow after I drop him off to finish changing over our registration because I had to get these power of attorneys for Mike since he can't make it because they're closed after he gets off work. He has to give me power of attorney because both of our names are on the vehicles. So then I got to go back there, which is like 45 minutes each direction. So I got all kinds of things going on, and I still got to finish. You know, even if we can't get this house that we want, we still need to figure out if we can get financing. So I'm still going to be talking to the bank and all this other kind of stuff. Did you? What'd you think of it? They have AIDS. Ah, interesting. Yeah, I can see that. Interesting. I don't know if they do or not. I know that all I know is that they said that they were going to have 6 kindergarten classes with 20 kids apiece, which seems like a ton of kids to me. I don't know if that's normal, guys, but I think back at our old house, they had 2, sometimes 3 classes of kindergartners. And I think there were somewhere around 20 kids too. Okay, maybe I can sit down again like a normal person and not you guys look up my nose. We're a little calmer now. Yeah. All right. Well, it doesn't say either. So they said since it doesn't say either, they have to assume it's and. It just says each of our names. It doesn't say and or. I don't know. Oh, wow. Yeah, that is small. I don't know how many kids are in this school. I mean, and this is a small town. Yeah, it's about the size of these. Size of these classes. But just it'll be nice to get some Tennessee tags and get rid of our Illinois tags. And that'll just give us another thing of residency. And then when I was getting Hunter registered for school, we did that over the 4th of July when we moved my dad down. And I don't know what I did with the Social Security card. And I'm almost positive I put it in my file cabinet, which is in my pod. And so when I went to the bank and I was like, oh, I want to open accounts for each of my boys. And she's like, okay, no problem. Just bring their birth certificate and Social Security card for each one of the boys and we can open them for them. So I went and I looked and I have all their birth certificates. And then I have Carter and Cole's Social Security card. And I'm like, oh my God, where's Hunter's Social Security card? And I'm like, I just had it out. And I checked like in the folder that I had all of my important stuff in and it wasn't there. And I'm like, we brought it to the school. The school has a copy of it. What did I do with it? And I think like in a moment of not thinking, I put it in the file cabinet that then I put into our pod. So I'm hoping I called the bank and asked them if they would take a copy of the Social Security card since this school has a copy, but I haven't gotten an answer from them. So that's infuriating. I might have to order another one because I don't know where it is, where the pod is. I don't know when I'm going to be able to get to it. Madness. More madness. It's too many things going on. I can only do so much. I can only remember so much. It was only a couple weeks ago, and I can't remember. I have zero recollection of what I did with it. I remember it being in the diaper bag when we brought it to the school. And then after that, it's no idea. I didn't know you were a sub. That's cool. Thanks, Danny. I'm trying. And I know that everything will work out and it's not the end of the world with anything. It's not the most comfortable saying. Everything we own is in, everything for our family of 5 is in mine and Mike's bedroom. And I mean, these are not huge bedrooms or anything like that, but I mean, it's cozy living and things like that. But we have a roof over our heads. Mike has a job. Hunter is going to school. We're just all kind of living on top of each other, irritating each other, figuring things out. Hey, Carps Homestead. Thank you so much for coming in. If you guys aren't subscribed to him, he lost his channel and he's rebuilding, which I cannot even imagine. That is so crazy. I'm so sorry to hear that. Subscribe to him. Go show him some love. Great guy. Yeah, I can't. 7 years you had your stuff packed up. I can't imagine. It must have been like opening a time capsule, right? I can't even remember what I did last month, more or less 7 years ago. And your kids are 7 years older. They've forgotten about everything that you packed away, right? That would actually be kind of cool and interesting. It's almost like Christmas again. Oh my God, I forgot about this. Yep, just one day at a time. Yes. Oh. That's awesome. I didn't know that, Danny. That's interesting. Did you ever think about going back to it, or that time has come and gone? There you go. Well, couldn't you go back if you really wanted to? Never too late, right? It was something that made you happy. But yeah. I do need to get going though, because like I said, I have my first Azure pickup and I'm pretty sure it's going to take me 45 minutes to get there. And you guys know how Azure is. Sometimes they're 15 minutes early, sometimes they're 30 minutes late. And I have to go wake up Cole, and he's going to be cranky because I'm waking him up. But yeah, thank you guys so much for coming in. I am going to try to do this weekly again. It's going to be changing times and things like that because I can't do this time because I'm going to be having to pick up Hunter at school. Hey, Hardknack Farms. Thank you so much for coming in. Oh, okay. And then this kid lays it on thick. He knows he's on screen. But yeah, I will be trying to go live. I think I'm going to try to do a morning, like after I drop him off. The boys will already be up and dressed and things like that. I might do a morning either on a Wednesday, maybe. But I don't know when it will be. I'm trying, guys. But thank you guys so much for coming in, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.